Hello, it's Peter Wright and Kathleen Beauvais with another episode of The Week That Was. And we're coming to you from a cooling down Ontario with our first snowflakes in evidence. And we are talking about the week that's ending on the 4th of November, I think. Is that right?
No, that would be the third.
Oh, sorry, I haven't changed my wall calendar. So I'm getting a little bit out of date. Well, out of date in more ways than one, many of you might say, looking at me. Anyway, let's say hello to Kathleen. How are you doing today, Kathleen?
I'm doing great, Peter. How are you?
Fine, feeling out of date. But anyway, it goes with this process they call aging. Enough of that. Enough of that. Welcome to everybody, and we had an interesting week again on the Yakking Show. On Tuesday, we published an episode with the talking to our guest Jon Arancio from the Wintec Group, and Jon is an expert on customer relationship management systems, or CRM as they are known in business, and he represents and installs and helps people use one in particular. It's called the Maximizer, and he was telling us what a difference it can make, especially to small businesses where the owner is still handling a lot of everything and maybe has a very small sales force and struggles to keep track of customer details on the old-fashioned spreadsheet and notebook type system. He goes into a lot of detail of how it can help you with your business. That was Tuesday. We ourselves are users of simple customer relationship management systems and a few other tools, some of which we talk about in other posts and give you links to. One that I'm going to mention, my favorite, is Airtable. We find Airtable is magic for helping us schedule our guests and episodes and keep track of all our contacts. Then next week we have, sorry, Kathleen.
It has really helped us to streamline a lot of our
Oh, yeah.
processes in enormous amounts of time,
Absolutely.
hasn't it? Like, yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And I was able to set it up, and I'm not a computer coder in the slightest. I know my way around spreadsheets, and I found it pretty simple and quite straightforward to set up Airtable and get it doing what we want it to do.
Right.
So let's talk about next week's guest. Next week we have a double header because on Tuesday we have two people. What I mean by a double header, we have Camilla and Sascha from the Hero Tribe, based in Europe, and they have formed a large organization helping people develop their spiritual side, philosophical side, understand problems. But you need to watch that episode to find out more, and they're good. I found them very interesting.
Yeah,
somewhat different to stuff that I've been involved in. What did you think, Kathleen?
I really did find them interesting because they're and kudos to them because they're really trying to help people find their own purpose or live their purpose. And and for some people that is really hard. People out there are just wondering, well, why am I here? And
right.
They really help to kind of take that, or you already have the answers within yourself. It's just getting the help to kind of bring it to the surface, bring it to the conscious mind, So
yeah, you know what amazed me about them, and for you in the audience, when you watch the video, you'll see what I'm talking about. They sit on the floor, on a hard floor, in, I think they call it the semi-lotus position.
Yes.
And for the whole 35-40 minutes of our interview, they didn't move. And I find I can't sit still for 5 minutes without scratching my head or moving my feet or something. And these two were totally relaxed, but fully present and aware. So they certainly have some control. Yeah. So that's coming up next week, and then of course in the weeks afterwards we have a lot more interesting guests coming along. Some weeks it'll be two, some weeks one. We were planning to go down to one, but we've had so many people ask to be on the show that we have extra episodes some weeks. Tips of the week. I've got a couple on business, and then we'll ask Kathleen on the health side. A couple of interesting things I picked up in the news this week, that in Canada, the COVID response by the government was responsible for more business closures than the recession of 2008. And this report estimates that more than half the businesses that closed are still closed and will not reopen. It's led to a phenomenon called zombie businesses. And these are businesses that have closed, but the owners have not, either because they can't or they haven't bothered to declare bankruptcy and officially close the business. So the businesses are still on the books as actual businesses, but they're not doing anything. The owners have abandoned them, just walked away. That's worrying.
Well,
The
you
other
know what,
interest,
Peter,
sorry,
that is not surprising. If you,
no,
especially locally, if you walk into certain malls in the region, I mean, I was astounded. I walked into one mall a couple of weeks ago, thinking, and it was a fairly sizable mall as well. Almost every store was closed in this
hmm
mall.
hmm
I
hmm
couldn't believe it. So, I mean, what you're saying, just it's sad. It really is, but it's the truth.
yep, yeah, absolutely. And again, we have the conundrum, if you like, that we've mentioned on the show before with some of our guests, that we have many service industries and commercial interests in the town where I live looking for staff at the service level for like coffee shops, even garages, workshops, plumbers, looking for people. And yet all these businesses are closing. So what's happening? We seem to have losing jobs on the one hand and can't find people on the other.
Yeah.
There was another interesting one this is relevant to us as podcasters and other podcasters. Recent statistics show that 48% of children in North America and Europe listen to podcasts at least once a month, and 24% of children listen to a podcast every week. So that's interesting. Big audience there that we perhaps were unaware of.
Right.
That's my business tips. I've got a couple of health tips, but Kathleen, you kick off. You talk about health first.
Well, today I'd like to give a little plug for the Wellness Company. I just think the world of this company because they've come up with some just fantastic products. We talked about the spike protein formula last week, and this week I'd like to just give them a plug for their membership options. So
Mm-hmm.
if anybody's interested in alternative care, or in fact, if you don't have a family doctor, this would be a great option for you. So they have different levels of membership. So they have what they call a non-member, but you pay for virtual care, you pay for the regularly priced supplements. Then they have one that's called the basic membership. So you would pay a monthly membership, but you get discounted virtual care. You get exclusive member-only health content from the leading minds in healthcare. And you get discounted supplements. So they also have another one called the One Wellness, which is another one option up from the basic. And they get virtual care as well, more discounts, more information through newsletters, and they get access to freedom from pharma consults. So I think that's, I think if you're interested in any alternative healthcare, or if you don't, as I said, don't have a family physician, but really want to be proactive in your health, this is a wonderful option to look at. So we're going to put a link to the Wellness Company below this video.
That's good. Excellent. And for many people in Canada, we have no alternative but to rely on virtual healthcare providers, myself included, for reasons I won't go into. I no longer have a family doctor, and I use these services. A couple of very quick ones that I picked up. One that interested me was an article, which I'll put a link to below, on kidneys and 4 habits most of us follow, which are not very helpful for our kidneys, one of which is drinking too much coffee. But there's more. It's worth reading the article. The other thing that worried me is 90% of Americans with kidney problems are totally unaware that they have symptoms that they're not recognizing.
Well,
That's
Peter,
a lot of people.
this is why that Dr. Morse, which is another one of the clinics that we support tremendously, is that he's always talking about good kidney filtration and lymphatic drainage, because without kidney filtration, that exposes you to so many different illnesses. And he works hard with all of his patients to get those kidneys functioning perfectly. So it's not surprising that number comes up, Peter.
That's right. Yeah. It's serious. And the other very quick one, which has been a worry of mine for years and years, especially having spent a lot of my time farming with large animals which get sick, is that they are finding, medical specialists are finding that many antibiotics are just not working properly, particularly with children's diseases. And in some cases, the antibiotics are less than 50% effective. And that's a worry. And it's come through overuse and overprescription of antibiotics. And we as consumers are largely to blame, not me personally, but so many people go to the doctor and insist on getting an antibiotic because their child's got sniffles or something. And it's just led to widespread resistance to antibiotics. So anyway, those were my little things that I picked up this week. That's it from me. So make sure you don't miss out on news of our future guests by signing up to become a subscriber to our newsletter. Excuse me. Go to theyakkingshow.com. There's forms all over the place where you can become a subscriber. From me, goodbye for this week.
Oh, and thank you so much for tuning in. And if anyone is interested in being a guest on our show, please visit us at theyakkingshow.com. Click on the contacts tab where you will find a short application form. And if you're interested, I urge you to fill out that application form sooner rather than later, because we're already booked into March. So take care, everyone. And until next week, take care. Bye-bye.